Hey guys, welcome back to the Noble Broker Podcast. I'm your host, Jonathan Lickstein. Today I'll be flying solo, and we have a guest here today. His name is Jordan Fortgang. Welcome, Jordan.
Love to be here. Thank you so much.
Just got through asking you where you're from, but I'm going to answer that question for you. I know you're from Yonkers, New York.
I was born in Yonkers and moved to South Florida, Hollywood, when I was 3 years old, and been here pretty much ever since.
So I say I was born in Washington, D.C. I was born in Washington, D.C. And you always say where you're born, where you're raised, where you grew up, right?
Yeah.
So born in D.C., raised in Northern Virginia, and I'm still waiting to grow up.
I can feel you on certain regards. I don't have a New York accent. I'm not repping the Yankees, you know.
Thank God.
Yeah. More. Although the Marlins make it hard. Because, you know, we've had 2 championship teams and we dismantled them the following year. So
That's the way we roll.
it is business.
It's very Miami.
Yeah, pretty much. Pretty much.
But here we are. We're going to talk a little bit about something that's passionate for you and passionate for me. It's the evolution of artificial intelligence in business.
It's taking over. I mean, that used to be like a term that people threw out just to, like, you know, add some allure to whatever the product or service is. And now it's just becoming mainstream and ubiquitous everywhere you look, so to speak.
Every angle you turn, every company is trying to say they use AI for this or that, but in the end, it's a tool, right?
Yeah. Well, it's becoming more than that. I mean, machine learning is just taking over. And, you know, dating back 10 years ago, there was a viral video called Humans Need Not Apply that I loved. And it just so happens, I went to go check it out and they did an update to it. Didn't have a chance to watch the update because it was an hour and 30 minutes long, but I could have used AI to, giving me a little
summary.
Exactly. But the gist of it was how, you know, talking about where we started with, like, you know, transportation and the horses and this and that, and then the horse became obsolete with the automobile and blah, blah, blah. Now we got into the age of computers and, you know, just making people's daily lives and tasks so much easier and more efficient. And, you know, eventually the mindset years ago was we're going to get to the point where humans need not apply because everything's going to be taken over by bots. And bots are going to take people's jobs. And, you know, you have people who can program bots, and then the bots can program other bots. So it's like, at what point are we going to become obsolete? And one of the main things that they were trying to focus on was, you know, keeping humans still relevant. So, you know, learning how to work cohesively with it and be prepared. So, you know, we can evolve together and not eventually end up like someone who needs universal basic income, like Wang was, pushing years ago, because there's not going to be any jobs. But I feel like that was more hyperbole years ago, and now we're at the point where people are realizing how they can use it to benefit them and just get things done quicker, you know, bang out tasks. Use it for business to look for opportunities that you never would have thought, you know. So it's more of an exciting time than it is daunting, I think.
So would you find that when you're thinking generative AI, as you use it day in and day out, are you more concerned over where it can go or excited about how it changes the way that you do things?
It changes the way that you do things dramatically. It's actually gotten to the point where you know how to prioritize your time on what you're going to do with it. So let's just say I need a blog, I need graphics made. I mean, whether it's using ChatGPT to scour the internet for ideas and then take an idea and say, write me a brief summary, you know, or blog SEO optimized for my Google business page because I just want to, you know, give that fresh content. Or give me marketing ideas for, you know, a website so I can attract more leads. It's what you want to do with it and learning how to maximize it, you know, to its fullest potential. I don't think many people realize that if you've ever used Google to do a search, you could basically consider yourself a prompt engineer. Like everybody's a prompt engineer. Like that's become like the big term is prompt, and how well you prompt AI. And the more you prompt and the more you refine it, the better the outcome. I mean, you're well aware of that. There are prompts that can create or refine other prompts. And then when you're satisfied with that prompt, that's when you execute and you get the outcome that you're looking for.
So I know when I first started using ChatGPT, prompts were a big portion as far as how successful you were in getting information out. I don't feel like that's the same anymore. I would start with exactly what you just described. Help me build a prompt, right? Ask me questions, telling the system to please ask me questions, help me formulate my question, help me formulate my prompt to be all encompassing. And now I think it's much more instant gratification, where I don't really have to go through that whole process. If I think about the who, what, and how, who I want the engineer to be, who I want the AI to be, how I want it to act, my marketing assistant, my real estate guide, my real estate coach, my marketing expert, etc. What do I want it to do? What kind of information do I want to get back? And then how do I want it to present that response? As long as I answer who, what, and how, I didn't have to go through that whole iterative process to create a new prompt.
Well, if you also think back to when ChatGPT was first on the scene, you did have to go through that process. But even OpenAI has evolved over the course of a year or two that you've been using it, because it can go across all of the previous chats that you've had. So it has history that it's learning from.
Right, getting better and better.
Yeah, it's like when you hire an assistant who gets ingrained into your organization. There's a little bit of a learning curve, but once that learning curve is established, I mean, you don't have to prompt as much, just pull from data.
No, that makes sense. Now, AI's been around for decades. And it started, go back into the 1950s, you can see traces of AI starting to be involved, or automated computing, right? But it didn't really become mainstream or well known to the public until OpenAI came out with ChatGPT.
That was a game changer. Like, especially for marketers or anybody who needs content creation or just ideas or just putting a fresh spin on things. That's become like a go-to place or a resource for many people, especially agents. Like, I can't imagine a real estate agent writing an original description for a property without using AI these days. I mean, maybe they minored in writing or literature when they were in college, but I feel like if you have a tool that can just, create an outcome in a matter of seconds, why not use it? I mean, we've also come to the idea or notion that when you do use AI, it doesn't always give you the outcome that you want. We're all guilty of sounding like a robot here and there, so to refine that prompt or say, hey, give it a little more human touch, that's definitely become like part of the practice. Learning not to sound so robotic, but definitely come off, concise. Brevity is the soul of wit, which is one of my favorite sayings. And it's like, if you're coming up with something that's too verbose, you're trying to do something that you don't want to do.
Agreed. So let's fast forward a little bit to today, and you've got ChatGPT is still a big player. You've got Google's version, Gemini. You've got Microsoft Copilot, which is coming off of ChatGPT as well.
I sometimes use both of those at the same time. I would use ChatGPT or Gemini for combining stuff. Or say I create something on Gemini, and then I put that over the ChatGPT and say refine this, or vice versa. Sometimes you get a good compounding effect. I'm not as big of a fan of Gemini as I am of ChatGPT, but both have good purposes. Like, for instance, ChatGPT, it can write code for you, no problem. Where you want to have a spreadsheet done and just formatted, for a document or upload. Whereas Gemini, it can come up with ideas for memes, jokes, humor. Like, it's a lot it's very clever in that regard. You know,
I've gotten many a dad joke out of ChatGPT.
I bet.
So, and it even goes further outside of the normal capabilities that we know now of text exchange, where you can type back and forth. ChatGPT's evolved into more voice conversation and even vision.
So yeah, chatbots as a way of like how your phone and your watch work simultaneously. It's become an extension of you, or the computer for that matter. So is like a chatbot, if engineered properly and prompted to the way you want, it can interact with anybody, and they might not be the wiser. A way of setting appointments for you. Like a virtual assistant AI is like a huge thing. That's people who are capitalizing on all these tools that are out there. They're the ones who can be more efficient and focus on what they do, which is creating the relationship and with buyers and sellers, and focusing on that.
So let's go beyond that. Let's talk about graphic creation, right? You can utilize artificial intelligence. I just had my birthday, and one of our agents, thank you. One of our agents, you get all of the Facebook automated, the happy birthday, comma, blank name, and everyone who just clicked that button.
Yeah.
But we had one agent who posted on my timeline and included pictures of 3 hypothetical parties that had occurred. And I remember creating images and graphics through ChatGPT, and it just couldn't figure out wording. It couldn't figure out letters. It wouldn't spell things correctly. It was broken. It was busted. And you look at the ones that he did, and not only are the main text perfect, but even these little texts on balloons and candles and rugs and people's shirts were all just spot on. I was very impressed.
So I'll tell you right now, that's trial and error. You're not always going to get the desired outcome that you want. However, take programs like Midjourney, for example. Midjourney is probably the premier, AI image generator out there. It's on Discord, and I've made some stuff for location real estate with that, and it's pretty astounding. Like, there's an ice sculpture, and it looks like it's real. People were like, "Oh, when was that party?" And I'm like, "That never happened." So it is amazing what it can do. Even you might be aware that WhatsApp has AI generation on there.
Well, that's driven through Meta, so you've seen it applied in Facebook and Instagram,
everywhere,
and WhatsApp. It's everywhere you look.
It's everywhere you look, and it's not just images; it's also text. It's suggestions. Like going back to Google and becoming a prompt engineer, something as simple as Googling a question, you'll notice that instead of just dispensing links in the timeline, it's actually using AI to suggest and analyze and give a proper, calculated answer for you, along with, the links where it's citing these sources.
Yeah.
It's a lot better.
Where I've seen a big application of it is on my phone. With the new Apple update that's out, it includes Apple Intelligence now.
Yeah.
And so in your text messages, for example, and this is both scary and cool at the same time, how you would previously get some suggested responses that are based off of like 20 different options. If it detected somebody saying, "When will you be there?" or "Are you on your way?" it would give you a couple short snippets that you could respond with.
Yeah.
Well, now those auto responses or those pre-written responses are highlighted in that like rainbow color of the Apple Intelligence bar. And it's them reading the conversation and the AI suggesting responses above and beyond the predictive text. So it's giving you cogent responses that are truly inside of the actual conversation itself. So instead of the pre-written text, I'm getting responses like, "Yes, Joshua, I got it," or things like that wouldn't be in your pre-written text. So it's becoming more and more of your AI assistant in real time.
And that's learning based off of the normal conversations you have. Does it have a history, or is that...
I don't know the answer to that question.
You know what I mean?
I'm just sparking a train of thought here, but I'm thinking initially that it was just whatever would have pre-programmed in there, kind of a pre-trained transformer, right?
Yeah. Well, everything learns off... All AI is learning from data. So
It's getting more and more powerful.
Utilizing your data,
that's what I'm a little worried about. Is it reading through my text messages and trying to gauge responses or lingo how I would normally speak? Is that what it's trying to do? It's emulating me, and that's a little scary.
Going back to the images that you're mentioning, like one of the popular programs I use daily is Canva, because it's easy for agents to use, and we'll create templates for them as well, and they can go in and customize to their own liking. But just the features alone that Canva has implemented in the past year using AI is amazing. I mean, to take a photo of, a sign or something, or a document, and then upload it into Canva and just be able to extract the text, or I have an image. A lot of people take photos with their phone and maybe it's not the right angle or some of it's cut off. There's an AI tool in there that will fill in a gap. It's not always perfect, but I mean, they're making leaps and bounds for a program that doesn't cost a lot of money, giving Adobe a run for their money.
Yeah.
And then you look at like WordPress.com, where someone's going to build a website. WordPress.com can now make suggestions on text and verbiage that you have on your website.
Have you tried? I know you don't have an iPhone, but I'm going to harp on this for a moment.
No Kool-Aid here.
Have you tried the AI cleanup on the iPhone now?
Walk me through that.
All right. So hypothetically speaking, I have a phone in my hand.
Okay.
I actually have a phone.
I was going to say this.
Hypothetically speaking, I'm looking at a picture. I haven't found the picture yet, so give me a second.
Okay.
And we'll use this one.
I'm guessing it analyzes the photo, what's going on, and will give you...
It analyzes the photo. So I click cleanup, and it's now like preparing the image. It's reading all the different objects. Mm-hmm. And then we're going to click on something and get it to delete in the picture from the photo, and it will replace it with what you want behind it.
Oh.
So we're going to do a little project right here. So you got a picture of my kid punching a teacher. Not literally. They're punching a pad that the teacher is holding. Okay. So my kid is not punching teachers. So I'm in the cleanup feature, and check this out. The exit sign. I want to get rid of the exit sign. Boop, 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 boop. Gone.
That is an amazing tool.
Built into your phone.
Yeah.
Think about how realtors can leverage that. You take a picture of a home, right? How many times have you taken a picture of something and you're like, crap, there's something on the countertop.
Virtual staging, at its finest in real time. Like that's, you want to clean up a room and not, hire a third-party program because I just need to remove that sock from the room. That's brilliant.
Yeah, that would suck if you couldn't remove the sock.
Suck it to me.
But it's tremendous to think of how this complicated technology was so far gone from human consumption or human usage that now it's in everybody's pocket.
So making it simple for the average user who has no background or is not tech savvy is key. And that, there's a lot of people who, don't know how to use Canva or Adobe or InDesign, and I get it. So they use like third-party programs, but even those third-party programs are using AI and automation. Like, look at content, scheduling and this and that. Like everything that we use, for our own needs at location here, there's a program out there. There's 5 programs behind it that do something similar. It's like it's getting to the point where are we going to be? Are a few programs just going to dominate them all, or is this going to be I use this, I use that, or hundreds? I'm not sure. Like I feel like everyone's just going to have programs that they use, and it's going to be hard for some of these smaller companies to break into unless they have a big mess, marketing budget.
Yeah, I feel companies can spin their wheels trying to figure out that puzzle and how to break it into whatever they already work on.
Yeah, like you get approached by companies all day, like, oh, check out my product or my service, but you're a busy guy. It's hard to like really devote time, and if their marketing is not top notch, then they're not going to have the eyeballs.
You'd be surprised. One of the cold reach outs that actually piqued my interest the most was a plain text email. And it was from somebody who had graduated from Stanford, worked for Google, quit his job. And his partner went to MIT, worked for Amazon, quit his job. And they got together and started the company. And just the narrative in that email that I read, it was so close to hitting delete. It was definitely a cold marketing email.
Yeah.
But they got enough of that story in there that it piqued my interest. And that right there was the best AI that I have seen demoed, regardless of the size of the company. These guys were a startup. What they were doing is, before I heard any other company doing this, they were reading documents using an AI, reading a document that you would upload to extract the information and have it take that information and populate it into another system, and then give it a quality score of yes or no based on preset parameters. So you now see that technology happening in the title industry. The quality of software, when you upload a contract, it'll read the contract, pull out some important pieces, and populate their system. That same thing is happening with systems like SkySlope and Dotloop. They're starting to incorporate that same type of AI technology of reading the information and populating other things. And you now see MLSs that are getting into that.
I'm a huge fan of autofill.
Agreed. Lifesaver.
Just save me like a click or two, or a drop down window. It's just you have my information. I feel like if we do start microchipping people, it's just going to be like very simple.
I don't know about you, but I'm not taking the microchip.
I did see something about Elon Musk with what he's doing with that one program.
Hey, if he's the leader of the Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency now for next year, for the next, we're not going to get into politics, but when you combine an ultra outspoken technological leader and you now bring them into government oversight, you never know what's going to come out of it.
Well, hopefully transparency and to see where waste is going. But my point was, him putting a microchip in somebody's head, and then, it's like the Matrix, like all of a sudden you're like, I know Kung Fu. Being able to have that at your fingertips or disposal and see where that goes with human. Like, you talk about AI eliminating jobs. Well, what if everybody was walking around with a supercomputer in their head? What would society be like?
Interesting. Would we be able to skip school? You could just, have a 6-year-old kid, as my 8-year-old sits in the studio here, we could just pop a chip in him, program 12 grades, we could go take him through his master's in 35 seconds.
This is true.
And then what would we be? We would be starting off, we'd be ultra intelligent individuals.
Well, I mean, let's see, the Earth is about 4 billion years old, and just in the last 600 million years is when multicellular organisms came to be. So we've kind of hit a point in history where we're advancing faster than ever before. So it wouldn't surprise me if Elon Musk's gamble, pays off, and 20 years from now, things are, advancing at a rate that we never thought possible.
So what are you excited about when it comes to artificial intelligence and how things are evolving?
Honestly, being able to work efficiently with teams, coworkers, get the message out. For instance, one of the hardest things with marketing is having the right data and going off of data set. Instead of like having a hunch on like, okay, is this working, is this not working? Having AI, give you a very granular look at like what's going on, around you, whether it be, market reports or just being able to arm our agents with, tools that are going to like make their jobs more efficient, Obviously, when it comes to text and images, that's a whole other thing. Like going back to Elon Musk, he tweeted the other day, famous works of art, and those works of art were like coming to life. It was really cool seeing the paintings come to life. And the first thing that came to my mind was virtual reality, like augmented reality. So imagine like a floor plan of of a house, and then having a first-person view of that floor plan, and then you're walking through that, and then, you know, through AI, you can, and prompting it, you have the type of style or, you know, interior design that you want. It's like at the head of a switch, everything just comes to life.
We're so close to it.
We're
so close.
We are on the cusp.
I mean, you've got Matterport, for example, that company that creates those little doll houses where on your screen you're walking through it, right? And then you've got there's a few websites that you can go on and take any MLS photo that is presenting a house, depicting a house, and you can tweak it based on style, design. You can customize virtually stage some furniture into there. So imagine you could do that in real life, in real size, with your, what do they call those, the Galaxy Quest?
Yeah.
Meta Quest?
Yeah, so I don't know, like, what's gonna, not everyone's going to afford those headsets that are like a few grand, you know, just for...
Well, they're down to like $400.
Yeah, but not like the new one that just got released, that where it's like Tony Stark. You're literally and they've shown videos of what it looks like. It's astounding, but I don't see that going mainstream. But augmented reality, I do think, is better than virtual reality.
Agreed.
At the moment.
Agreed.
Yeah.
So I played with an augmented reality headset.
Okay.
So a provider actually that's based in South Florida here, gosh, if I can remember the name of the company, it's like Rocket Matter or something like that.
Yeah.
But they're based in South Florida, just out in Pembroke Pines actually, in Davie.
Okay.
And they brought a set of 6 headsets that the emerging technology group that I was with at the time got to play with. They put us into a closed room, you put on your goggles, and you can see the room, like everything else. I'm just wearing these big, bulky, ugly glasses, and I'm looking around, and the room looks like the room. Then they flip a switch, and you're inside their Men in Black game.
Okay.
All of a sudden, the wall starts opening, and an alien comes in through the wall, and you can see the world behind them, and then the wall closes.
How real?
But now this alien's in the room. It looks very realistic.
Very real.
Really realistic.
Okay.
Now, the crazy part was, and this is where AR, the augmented reality, comes into play, that alien would hide behind people in the room. It would interact with the objects inside the room. And that's where the difference is. Virtual reality is you're in that world, right? Augmented reality is merging the two of them, where objects from each reality can now interact with each other. And that right there was incredible. It was mind-blowing.
Yeah, I mean, imagine looking at like a distressed property through augmented reality, and then it can beautify it, you know, overlay in real life, and then off to the side you're given all of the analytics that, you know, your buyer or seller would want, you know, or investor, you know, and a lot of things can be done with the right focus, but the technology that, you know, is being produced, like you said, we're on the verge of some very exciting times of things being introduced.
Agreed. There's the development in Miami, the 11 residences. You know Club 11.
Mm-hmm.
So the 11
Haven't
residences.
been
Okay. Well,
I know.
not to tell about it.
Okay.
So 11 residences, they have a warehouse. Their sales gallery is in a big opening room, and then you go into the warehouse. And the warehouse is this bare room. That's what it was in the beginning. It's now built, etc. But when you walk into this warehouse, you put on the VR headset, and they walk you through the room. They walk you through the building.
Really?
You are walking the lobby. Then they hit a button, and you're walking upstairs, and then you get to the pool level, and you get to look out at the live pool view. You get to walk around like you're walking the pool deck.
That's so much better than like the average, relying on the average salesman to, you know, convey the idea, the perception of what things, you know.
Well, it changes pre-construction into
Huge.
already operating. You know, they're famous for their club scene.
Yeah.
So you go out on the pool deck and you're walking around. You could even jump into the pool. You don't get wet, but you jump in the pool and you can hear the music and you see people dancing. And you're getting the environment, the lifestyle, like you would be there when it's done.
Right.
Looking at the skyline of Miami while you're standing on the pool deck. It's tremendous.
That's the best form of advertising I've ever heard of.
Walk into the elevator, hit the button, you go up, you go into one of their condo units.
Yeah.
You can turn the shower on. You can step out on the balcony and look around. You could look down and see cars going below you. It was tremendous. It was trippy.
You just reminded me of, do you remember when I went to Sardinia?
No.
Okay, that was a couple of years ago. It's where a few years ago. It's where my son was born, sort of. Anyway.
Conceived.
Yes.
Not born.
Didn't want to go there.
Okay.
Anyway, so we're sitting at a really nice restaurant, and it's a group, it's a party, setting, and there was a woman there. She was a singer. However, she was investing in technology. And this was the most interesting thing I've ever seen. Is she's sitting on probably $1 billion app or idea, and I don't know where it's at this moment. But here's what it was. She used her phone, the camera on her phone, and she's viewing augmented reality. And when it interacted with certain things on the table, that item came to life and then opened up a catalog of okay, I can order it here or this or that. Literally, if you're a product or a manufacturer or a brand, you could have your brand wherever it is. You pull out your phone, it's taking QR code to the next level. Imagine having your product come to life with your phone, just looking at it, and then you can interact with it. It was something I've never seen before, $1 billion idea, and having something like that in real estate would definitely.
Well, I hope she already developed it because you just shared it with the world, sir.
Yeah, I'll reach out next week.
So if one of our listeners is trying to get started, they've been hesitant, people tend to be slow to adopt technology. So if somebody hasn't given it a shot, what would be 3 things that you suggest they try doing on some type of AI platform, and which platform?
Okay, well, here's a little story before answering your question. There was a woman who came into our office last week, and she needed to find out the immigration status for her client so he could get a mortgage or something with paperwork. And this is not my forte. I literally used ChatGPT to help her find out. It pointed me in the right direction. It gave me hyperlinks. I clicked on it. I'm opening up, immigration web pages. So yeah, I would start with ChatGPT and getting your feet wet and learning how to, prompt a platform such as that for your needs. Look at what you do on a daily basis. You talked about how ChatGPT knows who you are, what you do, the if and why, blah, 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 blah. If you start telling it, I'm a real estate agent in this area, I specialize in this, these are my current marketing efforts, what can I do to help drum up more business, or how can I refine my messaging or my marketing? Asking it is like asking a professional. It's going to pull from the internet and give you everything that you need, and that's a good starting place to work from. It's not going to be the end all, but it's a great place to get your feet wet and start learning how these tools can benefit you in your business.
So again, first 3 things that somebody who's unfamiliar, what would you suggest they do, and what programs would you suggest they work in?
If I'm unfamiliar with AI, I'm going to Google all of the available AI platforms out there, whether it be ChatGPT or Gemini, or something for visual creation, Canva, and the 3 things that I would do to get started with that. Make a list of your current marketing efforts. Find out which platforms or programs are going to benefit you the best. Do a little market analysis, and then take advantage of Black Friday coming up so you can get a deal and discount on these platforms.
Well said. If you're just starting out and you haven't done anything, you have not dove into the capabilities of any AI platform, start on ChatGPT, start inquiring, ask questions, anything that you would ask your friend, your colleague, your coworker, your spouse. Ask ChatGPT and see how it responds and learns from you. And you will be amazed at what you can get out of it. And you will probably not sleep that night as you dive in further, asking more questions and getting blown away. And that's No Bull. Thanks for coming today, Jordan.
Thank you.
Appreciate you, my friend.
Have a great time.